Okay, so I wanted to give you an overview of what we're working on right now. We've been making templates for the end, basically out of scrap pieces of wood we had lying around, so that we can get the best shape we can along this edge. Couldn't kind of figure out why this was not square. I was looking at the boat this morning, and if you do a measurement at the top here across and here across, there's approximately 1 inch. It goes out at 1 inch over that period, all that length. It's the same in here. It's a little bit harder to get the measurement because of, making sure that everything's at the same height. But that kind of answers that question, that it is. It comes out and then goes back in, and if you look down the boat, it kind of makes sense. So fortunately that answered the question and probably saved us from scrapping the lids, to be honest with you, because if we hadn't have noticed that, the chances are that we would not have taken that into consideration on our build, and we'd have cut a lid, and then we'd have been out here scratching our heads wondering why the lid was off. So as I continue to learn about boats and these kind of things, or as we continue to learn about these boats and these kind of things, it's another thing in the, the old brain box, or making notes about, kind of keeping an eye on that. We're going with the same kind of detail that we have over here, where we're going to put a piece in, cut it out, radius the corners. I think it has a lot better finish to it. This is a solid piece here. This is where the seat pedestal's going, and then the other piece will sit on top of this. We was thinking about cutting it out, but quite honestly, with the seat pedestal going on there, I'd like to have a little bit more rigidity, so if people are leaning on it rather than sitting on it, we don't have an issue. Michael did cut all these, cut the rest of the floorboards out, and gave them their first coat of epoxy. As you notice, to reduce our time, we put screws in the bottom and we do both sides. So we do the side with the screw in, then flip it over, and then we can do this side, and it cuts down on our epoxying time. It's less of a problem in this weather, but we like to make sure that the epoxy is fully cured before we start putting any of the stuff on for the carpet. That way we don't have any kind of chemical reactions or anything like that. I apologize to everybody. So that's just another thing that we've worked on to try to speed up the builds, because it takes a lot of time. And I actually was thinking about it over the weekend. Obviously we're going to take this all out and epoxy this. I'm actually going to use the forklift truck and hang it from the forklift truck, so that we can do all the sides on this as much as possible in one whack. And that reduces our thing. It really takes 24 hours for it to cure. I don't know what it's like in this kind of weather. It's 90 some odd degrees here in Houston right now, but it's relatively humid. We had trouble with the curing in the winter because the temperatures were considerably cooler, so it was taking a lot longer actually than 24 hours for it to cure. So kind of keep those things in mind on what you're doing. I guess really we're kind of at the point where with this part of the build, we put the lids on and stuff and epoxy, and it's pretty much ready to go to carpet. Should be carpeting this week. Definitely we'll be carpeting those to Wednesday. The boss is going to be carpeting those.
Are we carpeting the bottom of that one?
I'm not deciding what we're going to do right here, right now.
That black plastic would look. The plastic would look kind of good.
I think the plastic will be better in here. So I was leaning towards that. We had not had a chance to talk about that, but I think the plastic will do a lot better. The carpet, don't get me wrong, the carpet is good, and quite honestly, as far as your builds go, the carpet hides a multitude of sins. And what we've learned as you go on, you do have to be precise, but you can't be over precise, because if you butt everything up, then there's no room for the carpet. So you've got to kind of error on the side of space either side, and making sure that and we've discussed this before, that you get the right distances for your carpet. Do not assume that all carpet is the same and those distances are the same. So cut yourself some scrap pieces off and double check yourself, because we've gone, I think, from 3/8 to 1/2 inch, and on some of the bills it was down at 1/4 of an inch. So we double check ourselves.
Quarter per side.
Quarter per side. The other thing that you can do, and we started to do this, and we do need to do a little bit more of this, is we cover a piece of scrap wood to get our heights correct. So that helps us know that we've got this at the correct height, because when you start putting the carpet on this side and on this side, it all adds up, believe it or not, it adds up quite a bit.
So that's the plywood that we use for our decking.
Yeah.
It's scrap old decking plywood.
Yeah, because we scrapped a lot of stuff. We've all seen the scrap stuff.
We haven't scrapped any very much on this, knock on wood.
No, we're getting better at it. We're taking our time. I have to be honest with everybody, and I think it's something everybody should keep an eye on. It's very hot here in Houston right now, and I'm good till about 1 o'clock, and I've learned that once I get tired, it's time for me to go home, because when you get tired, you start to make mistakes. So if you're at home working on your boat or wherever, if you start to get tired, you might want to take a break, go sit in the AC, drink some cool water. And I know I sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but it makes a big difference. On Mitch's boat, I kind of overdid it. It's not my own fault. I'm not blaming anybody. I kind of overdid it. So it's really important to make sure you take plenty of fluids in, because if you don't, then after about 2 or 3 days, by the 4th day, I was like, I got to stay home today. So just keep that in mind on your builds, depending on where you are. Everybody's not as hot as Houston is. So very excited about the way this has turned out, and I think the client is going to be ecstatic. I don't know how many days we have in this right now.
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Probably 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. And some of it, some of it the other day when we changed up, we do this quite a bit. It meant we had to go back and redo some work, but I think you've got to do that to make sure that you're comfortable with your build. And I'm going to tell you, if that little voice goes off in your head, that little voice is still going to be there when you finish your build. So take the time and change it when that little voice goes off, and that's what we do. And it's kind of funny, the more Michael and I work together, the more we kind of get in tune with each other. These are his builds, so I like to help him, I like to work with him, but obviously I don't want to cost him money. And sometimes my ideas come later, and then we have to go back and redo work, and obviously that does cost him money and time is money, and you can't replace time. So anyway, that's kind of the update for right now. This is Monday after Father's Day weekend. I hope you all had a great Father's Day weekend, and probably should have added that to last week's video. I hope you did watch the walkthrough. Michael did a great job on the walkthrough on that boat. He does a really good job of showing you what's going on. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. So we're going to keep you updated as the days goes on. I got to run up to Centerville, Texas, so I probably won't be around tomorrow, but we'll keep you updated and show you what we're doing. Thank you.